it's approaching the supreme moment. Reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead, it's for the taking if you want it. If not, the dream dies and you'll be forever haunted. Then confront it.
What's good? So I finished the grind for the EZA second form Frieza unit that's out on JP right now, and want to test him on the extreme physical type versus the super intelligence stage of Super Battle Road, because honestly, to showcase this guy, it's best to go under the Super Battle Road settings because of the passive skill itself, and we'll cover that here in a second. But again, this is pretty much the 120% leads with the Final Form Cooler unit. The friend lead, I had to use the stock friend, so no dupes on that one, but I did bring in several units like Broly, as well as Evil Boo, Sin Shenron, Kid Boo, and whatnot. But let's go ahead and talk about the unit itself, because I haven't really covered this unit necessarily. So the second form Frieza, again, is an Extreme Z-Awakened unit. It is a free-to-play with its own potential orbs, and leader skill is, this is all going to be stats for after the EZA. So transformation boost category +3 key HP attack and defense increase of 77%, or physical type key +3 HP attack and defense increase of 50%. The super attack will greatly raise attack for 1 turn and causes mass damage to all enemies. So here's the important part with the passive skill. Attack and defense increase of 60%, plus an additional key +6 and attack and defense increase of 40% when facing 2 or more enemies, plus an additional attack increase of 60% when the target enemies is defense down status. So again, with all that in mind, you do want to face as many enemies as possible in this sort of scenario. Plus, you also want to get the defense decrease status effect on the enemies. So I'll talk about the team building here in a second. Let me just finish the stats for this unit itself. So this unit does also have an active skill, which causes supreme damage to enemy and greatly lowers attack and defense. Can be activated when facing 3 or more enemies starting from the 3rd turn from the start of battle, and it is a one-time only active skill. In terms of links, you do have Brutal Beatdown, that's 10% to attack, strongest client in space, +2 key. Universe's Most Malevolent, 15% increase to attack. Prodigies is 10% to attack. Fear and Faith, +2 key, Big Bad Bosses, attack and defense increase of 25% when HP is 80% or below. And finally, Shattering the Limit is +2 key. 3 categories: Transformation Boost, Planet, Namek Saga, and Wicked Bloodline. Maxed out, following stats: HP of 9,717. That's actually Rainbow without the EZA. At Rainbow status, HP is 11,645, attack is 13,076, and defense is 8,321. So 12 key multiplier for this one is 130%. In terms of overall team usage, after testing a couple of variations, I came to the conclusion that it's best to have the Pure Evil Boo, which Dokkan Awakened from the SR version to max level 100 SSR or UR version, because the passive skill is all enemies attack and defense decreased by 20%. So that is going to pretty much guarantee the second form Frieza unit is going to, be able to activate the passive skill to the full extent. You know what I mean, for the most part. So that's actually going to work pretty well. Links, a little bit of an issue. The good thing about this Evil Boo unit is it does have the ability to seal SA, and it has a medium chance to evade enemy attacks. So it's actually a pretty good unit. But in terms of just helping the Frieza unit as much as possible, I decided to use a team pretty much built around linking those two together. Now, I did also include the Sin Shenron, who has passive skill that decreases all enemies' defense by 30% as well. So having those two on the team will definitely make things easier to utilize the second form Frieza to the full extent. You know what I mean? So that is where like I said, links could certainly be an issue at times, but in order to maximize Frieza's potential, it's one of those situations where, you could have a bunch of units that lower defense by their super attacks, but since you do have 2 units that have a built-in passive to where it does reduce enemies' defense throughout the board, it just makes things a little bit easier, in my opinion. Now, they aren't the best of units by any means. Like, Sin Shenron's pretty good, especially for this type of Super Battle Road setting, but it's you could easily bring in units at lower defense, like a lot of the units actually do, like the Final Form Cooler unit. The super attack definitely lowers defense and whatnot. So Kid Buu actually does, I think, as well. So a lot of these units are solid in their own right. I just like that guaranteed, not having to wait for other units to super attack in order to get the Frieza's full passive to activate. Basically, by doing so, you can get him to attack first if you want to. I think overall this unit's pretty solid. I'm actually curious how Frieza's gonna do on the 30 times difficulty in the World Tournament setting. It'll be interesting to see how that is. So, of course, like we just got done with the World Tournament, so it's gonna be one of those situations where we're not gonna find out till it comes back around. But if this is any sort of indication as to his potential, yeah, it could be pretty well off. And again, Broly is on here as well. Doesn't necessarily provide any benefits to Frieza himself, but again, it is an AoE unit, so it's going to help clear the map out a little bit too. It's pretty much like you have, especially battles where you have 4 enemies, you could essentially wipe out the field with Frieza attacking as well as Broly attacking. So those two combined, I mean, they could literally kill off the field if they wanted to. Now, this is the older stages of Super Battle Road, so in the newer one, like the extreme stage of Super Battle Road, the enemies are a lot tougher in that scenario, but the concept is pretty much the same. It's all about making sure the enemy's defense is lowered in order to maximize the second form Frieza's potential in terms of the passive skill activating. I mean, you're looking at, what is it, 60%, 40%, and another 60%, so that is quite a bit. And then what's great about him is just the key added on based on the amount of enemies. I mean, it's +6 when facing 2 or more enemies, so it makes it pretty much a guaranteed every time. So it really does help out a lot. And it depends, like I've tested him on the Wicked Bloodline team, and I've seen his attack stats go like 2 million plus in some cases. So he's definitely a powerful unit, especially for a free-to-play type. So I think he's very solid. It's well worth the grind, especially since you don't have to invest any of your potential orbs. I think it's definitely worth it to do so. The biggest thing too is when you are going through the process of maxing this guy out, just make sure to focus on mocking the pass and going through the potential system first. You don't really have to worry about the SA because you do get free copies once you get through each level of 10%. Every 10% in the potential system you increase, you get a free copy of the unit. So you don't necessarily have to work on picking up dupes or anything like that. That'll follow with the mission. So just make sure if you go through the process similar to any other free-to-play EZAs that happened in the past, just work on the potential system first, and you'll get free copies to level up the SA afterwards. So of course Broly does quite a decent amount in damage. Now he can be a little bit of a liability on the defense side, but it's helpful either way because you're slowly chipping away all the enemies. So either way, it's gonna help. I wonder if we'll have enough for a Dokkan mode here. We should. Yeah, there we go. We'll see how this goes right here. So again, it's just my personal preference to link the guy up with Evil Boot. Now, if you want to maximize the overall attack, with the link skills, you could certainly bring in different units to link up with them. I guess you could have Evil Boo in the off rotation or something like that, to get, help out a little bit with the full passive for Frieza activating. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the EZA second form Frieza tested on the Super Battle Royale stages. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. As always, thanks for watching, and congrats to Liverpool, my team winning the Champions League. All right, I'm out of here.